Brutal tax deed horror stories. Watch this video if you are considering ever buying a tax deed so you don't end up like the train wrecks that we just saw at some of these upcoming auctions where even the county made a mistake and people thought what they were buying was a house, but some of it was burnt to the ground. Sometimes there wasn't a house there at all. Sometimes they bought the wrong property, and sometimes these deals aren't what they seem. So you need to kind of know what's going on so you can avoid these horror stories for yourself. Tax deeds, if done right, can be an amazing opportunity to buy houses, sometimes 40 to 60% below market value. It wipes out the mortgages. You can do this stuff from home. There's a really great way for you to get into real estate and make money. However, there are some train wrecks and disasters along the way that happen. And to be fair, a lot of it comes down to just laziness and bad due diligence. So make sure to stick around to the end as well, because I'm going to wrap this up with a bow tie of the 7 most common devastating rookie mistakes so that you can avoid them and stick with this business and really have a chance at getting into this and building some wealth through real estate, because tax deeds are an amazing on-ramp. A lot of things are getting more expensive these days. And, depending on how old you are, a lot of people kind of feel left behind when it comes to getting started in real estate, like a rainbow that keeps kind of getting further and further away. So this channel is here to help you buy some off-market discounted properties that you could maybe rent out or use to help create that legacy. And one of the things we really want to do here is help you avoid the costly mistakes that the rookies make. So we're going to go through that. And if it's your first time tuning in, it's Dustin Hahn here. And this channel has, I think, over 3,000 videos now helping you get started with tax deeds. We have the top website called Tax Lien School to help you get started with tax liens and deeds. And this week, for anybody who tunes in, who wants to get some deals, we're giving away a custom tax deed blueprint. If you want help, that's in the description. It's 100% built for your goals if you're interested in that. So this is a live stream, so put any questions that you have in the comments or below the video, and we'll be happy to answer them. So we're going to bring in the auction wizard himself, Mr. Josh Blanchard. How you doing today, Josh?
Hello, howdy. Happy day, everybody.
Excellent. So let's pull up some of the disasters and train wrecks that you've recently witnessed. This is like real-time tax deed horror stories that have happened, and we're going to walk you guys through them, teach you the lessons, how to avoid, and then have a plan to move safely into this business so that just as important as making money is not losing money. So that's what we want to avoid. Now, obviously, we give the disclaimer as far as we can't make income promises. We're not doctors or lawyers or astronauts. We can talk about what we've done, what we see in the field, and everybody's results will be in direct correlation to how much effort you are willing to put into the business. So yeah, let's bring up your screen here, Josh, and show some of these insights from the train wrecks.
Okay, nice. Sounds good. Yeah, just this past Tuesday, so this would have been April 15th, 2026, we did participate in the Philadelphia tax sale. And so this happens on the third Wednesday of every month. So yeah, this was yesterday, third Wednesday of every month. And the opening bid is $1,600, which is very appealing, right? Because some of these properties are worth $500,000. Some of them are worth 5K, 10K. And what we do, because we're not actually physically located in Philadelphia, is we have a driver that we hire, and they go ahead and they drive properties just to give us a little bit more insight and to make sure that the property is actually there. And so what can be very confusing is that we'll often find the county is taxing a property. They're taxing it based on the land value, and they're taxing it based on the home value. They call it an improvement. And sometimes they're doing that and they'll have an assessed value of $197,000, but there's actually no house there. And the reason this can be so dangerous is because there are people who buy property based on assessed value or based on county data. And so we always have to verify the data. And I'm going to show you exactly why there was a train wreck here just a few days ago. So this is 70 West Rockland Street in Philadelphia. And so this was driven because there was supposed to be a house there. We didn't have the driver drive anything that was a vacant piece of land. So he's only supposed to be driving properties. And so you'll see here that for the most part, there's houses. But then occasionally we are seeing this. And so if I take that address, 70 West Rockland Street, Philadelphia, I'm going to throw it into the county website. So right here is OPA Philadelphia. This is the Office of Property Assessment. So this is all county information. This is all county data. It's not private or anything like that. Anybody can access this. So if we come in here to find property information, I'll go ahead, I'll type 70 West Rockland. So remember, we drove this because there's supposed to be a property on it. And so when you come in, you see the assessed value is $196,000. And what we see is on this map here, they have it treated like there's a structure. If it was just if it was blank like this, it would be a vacant lot. But you can see here, they've got the lines. They're treating it like it's a structure. So this is the county map. This is the assessed value. When we scroll down here, we see taxable land. They're saying the land is worth 40 grand and the house is worth $157,000. And so if you were to come in and you were to buy this property at a tax sale, let's say for like 30 grand, you would think, wow, that's a really good deal. I'm getting a house that's worth close to 200 grand. But, when we see it, there's no house there, which is so wild because they've been taxing this like there's a house there. And unfortunately, this property did get bid up. There was like 35 bids on this property. And so I could tell that people were bidding on this thinking that it was a house. And the reason I know that is because there's another property here. This one right here. Let's see. Yeah, it was this one, 2721 West Allegheny. This one sold for like $2,000. And so I knew, okay, people did know that there was no property here. And it's the exact same thing. If we type 2721 West Allegheny, I'll just go ahead and grab that. Actually, this one sold way lower. This one was actually a deep discount. So this one, market value 133,000, taxable land 26 grand, taxable improvement 106,000. So it's the exact same thing, but whoever bought this, they actually did their due diligence properly because they knew that there was no property on it. This one sold, it was like for $2,000 or something like that. So it actually sold for a discount, which was a great deal. And so, yeah, they did their due diligence. But the other one, the 70 West Rockland, 35 bids on it. It sold for a much higher price. There was no deal there. They overpaid for the land. And so the land value is not worth what they paid. It's underwater. And it all comes back to doing due diligence. So it would be nice, it would be great to think that, we can trust this data, that they're getting taxed properly. Because the other thing too is think about it, they shouldn't be getting taxed this $106,000, right? This is the taxable improvement. So they're getting taxed for the property, but there's no property there. So already, that's not right. And then on top of that, of course, there's actually no house there. So when people ask us, hey, should we bid on this? And we'll often say, have you seen the property? And they would say no, but I looked at Google Street View. And so sometimes Google Street View could be a year ago, could be 5 years ago, could be months ago, but you never know. And especially if a property is dilapidated, if it's unsafe, there could be demolition orders in place for the county to demolish it. And so you've got to make sure that you're doing all of your due diligence. So those are a few situations where things really went south. And so for one property or one parcel, they did get it at a good deal, $1,600, so they can actually flip it for the land value. And then the other one, they definitely did not know that there was no house on it. There was a bidding war, emotional bidding, and there's not even a house there, which is wild. So that just happened a few days ago. And the other thing that I wanted to show from this tax sale is this property right here. So this one sold for $349,000. And there was some really good deals here. We saw stuff sell for 10 cents on the dollar, but it really is very different from one property to the next. And so you're going to find deals and you're going to find people that overpay. And so if we look at this one just from a numbers perspective, 208 bids. So this was definitely in a bidding war. If we go ahead and we just look at the taxable value, it's got an assessed value of $400,000. And so, right there, it kind of sold for that's very intense. Actually, that's pretty close to market value. So this is already, this is already overpaid. They already overpaid for it. But if we throw it into Zillow, we kind of get more of an idea of what it might accurately be. And so it's closer to 500,000. And so it's like, okay, 325 on 500,000. They're probably not underwater, you would think. And one of the things that we always recommend and we suggest that you don't ever skip this process, is checking for like code violations, checking for if the property is unsafe, if the structure is deemed as like unlivable, anything like that, because those are all going to be really important factors. If it's been vacant for a long time, that's going to take your rehab budget and spike it up. It's going to jump it up for sure. And so in Philadelphia, it's pretty easy to find this information. They have it all organized, and so it's not that difficult to find. And so I just clicked OPA. Here's the office of Philadelphia. But this is what I want us to pay attention to. So this is L&I. This is where there's permits, licenses, violations, and then appeals related to the property. So if I click L&I records, remember this one sold for $325,000, or sorry, yeah, $350,000, probably closer to 500K is the value, but it's also huge, 3,218 square feet. And so you're really going to need to set aside a pretty decent rehab budget for this. And so let's see though what's going on with licenses and inspections. Whoa. Oh my. Oh my goodness. Look at that. We've got 35 investigations, and these are dating these are very recent too. This is up to March 25th, 2026. But we've just got pages and pages and pages of failed stuff going all the way back to 2012. And then from there, we can open up violations. And we see they got hit with an unsafe violation in 2012. And then they've just continued to have more and more and more and more violations on this property. So it is vacant. It is unsafe. They've been failing violations, or they've been failing inspections since 2012. And this thing is definitely going to cost a lot of money to rehab it. And so for us, we would put it in like as far as the calculation goes, we're at least going to do $60 a square foot. So $60 a square foot times the square footage of the property, 3,218. It's a $193,000 rehab budget. So then you go ahead and you add what they paid for it, and this is already $43,000 above, what would be considered the assessed value, and that's just at $60 a square foot. And so this thing is vacant. It is unsafe. This is not the kind of property that you would want to spend $350,000 on. And so maybe, they would think that, well, I'm not sure what they think, but you've got to make sure that you go in and you look at the code violations. There was a couple properties that we saw where from the photos, they looked okay. You might see, okay, this looks all right. But then you get into licenses and inspections, and they have it labeled like the property is unfit to be living in. It's been vacant for a while. There's structural damage. One of the words is imminently dangerous. And so if you find a property that is imminently dangerous, that means they could demolish that property in the next week, in the next month, in the next few months. If it's imminently dangerous, it's going to be vacant. And so there have been people who have acquired properties in Philadelphia. They've paid, maybe they got it for $20,000. It looks like it's a great deal. The house could be worth 200 grand fixed up. And the next thing you know, the county comes and demolishes the building and hits you with the $20,000 demolition fee. So these are all the kind of things, that can happen. And so it's very important to do due diligence, avoid any pitfalls, be looking at code violations, and of course, making sure that you drive the property as well. So those are some horror stories just from recently in Philadelphia. And but still there was some really good deals there. And so there was actually 47 properties that showed up at the auction this week. And so normally there's maybe 20 or 25, but I was really surprised all of a sudden, like boom, there's 46 there. And so just kind of going, if we sort this by price, let me go ahead and go back here. There was some pretty low sales. So a lot of stuff selling under 5K. You got like 4,800 bucks, 4,600, 4,000, 38, 1,900, and then even 1,600 bucks. Something sold for $1,600, which means there was one bid.
What was
Which
the
is
market
wild.
value on some of these?
Let's take a look at that one. So that one, they're giving it an assessed value of $27,000. So a piece of land assessed at 27 grand sold for 1,600 bucks. No bids on it. And then yeah, a lot of stuff too for $1,900. So there are people who are overpaying. There are people who they don't have any process for due diligence. They don't drive properties, but at the same time, there are plenty of opportunities here, which is fantastic.
Yeah, these are some of the, some of the opportunities. And then obviously you need to be prepared when you're going to these sales. And we see lots of rookie mistakes. And a lot of the times folks come to us for kind of damage control after they've made a rookie mistake. And one of the biggest, simplest ones is they just look at the Google image and the street image. Yesterday, I was looking at one, and I think it was like 11 years old, the street image. And what really blows me away is like the people show up live at these auctions, and it's like you had the ability to come to the auction, but you weren't able to actually like go and physically see the property. And sometimes they're like 15 minutes away. And so that's one of the biggest mistakes. One of the biggest rookies mistake, number one, is looking at a property and, not checking it out. First off, like look at it on Google, the street view, check out the GIS, look at the access to it. And you want to make sure you have a recent picture, because we see it all the time where people buy property and it's been burnt down, or it's been flooded, or it's condemned, or it's boarded up, and it's not what you think it is. So that's one of the big rookie mistakes. And, back in the day, it used to be kind of the golden rule for tax deeds where you always go and see it in person. Like that was the golden rule. However, now with the internet, we're able to, we can send people to go look at the property. We can do this stuff virtually, which is very, very cool. But you need to know what you're doing. The next big mistake, number two, is buying a property that is landlocked. So it might not have road access. It might look good on the map. It could be huge. It could be valued at a bunch of money, but it's landlocked. It's in the middle of nowhere. So we see that as well. People don't understand what they're getting into, and it's landlocked. So, they literally just go bid like, oh yeah, it's worth 10,000 and I bought it for 5. And it's like, but it's in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. You're unable to access it. The third rookie mistake where people have horror stories is maybe they buy a cheap lot and it's too small. They can't get zoning. They can't get utilities. There's no drainage. These are important things to take into consideration. And one of the things that we like about lots in town is generally you have utilities and things like that, electricity, all that. When you're looking at lots and vacant property that could be rural, sometimes they don't have that. So make sure to always check the zoning if it's not unclear. The next thing, like Josh was saying, is bidding emotionally. So we see that a lot, and it's hard not to get caught up in the, in the fun of the bidding. And especially if you go to one of these auctions and, you really want to get something, you have just the fever to get something, you put in all this work and it's like, oh, I have to get something. And then, emotion overruns. And this is why we're very strict on setting max bids when it comes to buying these properties. It's very, very important to not go over that. And, there could be some painful times in the sense of maybe it's $100,000 property and you want to bid, up to 10 grand. That's all you have, or that's your max bid for whatever reason. Then it sells for 10,200 and you wonder what might have been. But you don't know that that person could have been willing to bid up to half a market value or market value. So this is important. Let's see. The next one is, what do I have here? Yeah, understanding redemption period. Remember, places like Texas and Georgia are going to have their redeemable deed state. So when you buy in Texas, you have to wait 6 months before you can sell it, which means, if it's vacant, you can rent it out. If from there, you want to get everything ready for when it's sold, you can do that. But in Georgia, you can't. You have to wait a year before you get access to it. But there's still a lot of opportunity in Georgia. And then the other mistake is, like Josh often says, just because a property is at a tax deed sale doesn't mean it's a tax deed auction property. And Texas is a great example because basically the HOA fees and Houston and Harris are very high. So the homeowner association will use the same sheriff that's auctioning tax deed properties to auction off and try to recoup the homeowner associations. But those fees don't wipe the mortgage like the tax deed does. So that's something very important to realize and can be a big deal. So the next one, obviously, knowing the flow of the auction. So for example, in Harris, what we find is things get bid up towards the end of the auction because maybe people go and the property they wanted in the beginning gets sold. So a lot of the times you'll find all these people who have their capital, they want to spend it, wait till the end of the auction, and then things get bid up. So those are some of the top 7 tips. Let's see what's happening, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in here. Thanks for the insight. Let's see. Do we work with Section 8 housing? So we will definitely bid and, help our students buy Section 8, but we've never entered the Section 8 program for our own properties. So that's something, it can be very lucrative because it's guaranteed rent every month. Let's see. Saw a pre-foreclosure house value 2 million value, or for 2 million valued at 12 falling into the ocean. Yes, definitely some due diligence needs to be done there. What's happening, Bob? Long time no see. We have not seen you for a while. We were reaching out to you as well, so we can connect here after this. Have not seen you in a while. Glad to see you on the stream today. Let's see. Code violations. Yes, I'm looking at a house, 2-bedroom. They didn't mention the other cottage. So yeah, that's interesting, right? Some people might build something else on the property. Now, that could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. So if you can get it zoned, then you'll be in good shape. So code violations are huge. I made a mistake one time. I bought a property, and this is a good example. There was like 500 people at the auction and I think like 80 properties. And I thought I was going to be just smoked, but I ended up getting a property, $6,000 in New York. And I didn't realize and read this was like 18 years ago, that there was a stipulation that I had, I think it was like 3 months to fix the code violations. And then I didn't. And then I started getting all these bills and stuff like that. So read the rules is very, very important as well. Let's see, where do you find people to view the property out of state? Josh, can you explain that one?
Yeah, lately this year, we've been using Facebook to post ads in it, or like go into a wholesaling group in Facebook, but it's really just groups. And so even in a small place like Evansville, Indiana, for instance, we were able to participate in the auction there and look at photos of properties. Just going into a real estate investing group and then putting up an ad. We had AI help us write the ad, and then just like pay people by Zelle or Cash App. But that's worked really well, and been able to find like a lot of people in Philadelphia. Just in Philadelphia wholesaling group on Facebook that's done it.
Excellent. Somebody's saying here, made the mistake of telling a friend about the property. She said her boss, the realtor, too good to be true. Walked by it, and then sure enough, her boss bought it. So yeah, this is part of the game as far as that goes. Definitely, if you find a property, remember, this is like a fishing pond, right? There's 3,300 counties, 1,600 tax deed counties. And a lot of the times when you find the pond, take action on it immediately. I had this happen to myself many times where somebody was at the auction. Like, oh, I've lived here for years. That's junk. I wouldn't bid on it. Sure enough, they were bidding against me on that property. So yeah, definitely be careful in those situations as far as, who you mention to it. And one of the big things that comes up is like, oh, it sounds too good to be true. And that's good. A lot of people think it is. And many people will continue to think it's too good to be true. Because, the things we say, it's like, hey, buy property 60, 70, 80, 90% below market value sounds like a classic late night infomercial. And, at the same time, properties with tax deed auctions go from a whole spectrum, from market value down to $1,600, sometimes less. So, you just need to keep showing up, do your research. We generally see deals going at every auction. We see deals getting bid up. The key thing is showing up and being consistent, and you can get some of the best deals you've ever gotten. The important thing to realize is, like, if you stick to it, you will get predictability when it comes to these auctions. However, You know, where people get upset is they might research for 2 days and they go to the auction and everything gets bid up, and then they get sad. Oh, this doesn't work. Everything got bid up to market value, you know, and that's just part of the game. That's okay. Like I referenced the story one time, Josh went, I think like 7 sales in 7 different counties and states and didn't get anything. You can bet the morale tank was pretty low. And then it was on like the 8th sale, he got like 7 properties. So most people would have given up. So you just have to stick with it. And, you know, obviously we say some pretty impressive things as far as 70, 80, 90% below market value. And it's possible if you keep showing up. It's impossible if you don't show up. So as far as your timeline goes, for me, I got my first property 2 days after learning about this. Some of you guys might get something at your first auction. Some might be your 5th or your 10th, but it's absolutely worth it to stick to it. You know, these days, most people don't get any mastery because the internet is infinitely wide and they don't go deep enough to truly get the skill set. So that is why we're here to help you guys. Let's see. Yeah, if it has a lot of HOAs, is it worth it to get? So if a property, HOAs we will bid on in Texas, but you have to really do your research and check the mortgages because you're going to inherit those mortgages. And that is a big mistake that people make is they buy something, they think it's a tax deed, but it's actually the HOA, and they inherit everything, the mortgages, the outstanding taxes, and all of that. So that is important. Let's see. Yeah, immediately is key. So definitely take action. What AI do we use? So we've built a custom AI on Chat GPT. I've shown it here before, and let's see. I was using it yesterday. I'll just bring my screen up here for a second, Josh. So what we did is we built ourselves a custom AI for tax lien and deed investing, and we tried to build it for all 50 states. So on the left-hand side, I have it right now loaded with Texas and Arizona, but we built it out for all 50 states. And then we have all of the things that you deal with, basically like an in-house tax lien and deed real estate office with rehab estimators, accountants, REI lawyers, contract generators, cash buyers, marketing departments, bid strategies, revenue calculator, rental income, all of that. And we're using AI to make this as easy as possible for us. So this is what we do. We built this on ChatGPT. Obviously, everybody should be using AI at this point. If you, once again, how you know this is live? I don't think AI sneeze yet. So we've built this in to just help give us speed. So for example, for Texas, if we want to do this as fast as possible, before you just have research now, we just say, find me some dirt cheap Texas property. And boom, it goes, finds the counties, it finds everything, and it works really, really well, saving a whole bunch of time. Like AI is an amplifier to effort. We used to have a team of virtual assistants doing all this research, but you know, now with the click of a button, away we go, comes in here. Obviously, Harris County comes up. You click on it, takes you right to the Harris County map. Oh, obviously, when you're live, it wants to break down on you here. Which one did I go to? Tax sale listing. Here we go, right to the list, and you can sort this by value, see what types of deals are coming up is important. So, you know, this one, minimum bid 70 grand, value is 861. So this could be a deal, right? We're looking for the spread on these properties, which is key. So we'll do another. We've done a lot of Texas videos, so we can come back to those a bit later, but we'll get to a couple more questions here, and then we'll wrap this up for today. Let's see. Somebody's saying here, I bought a property out of FOMO, had a permit for cheap gazebo. During previews, I skipped it. When I got out there, the gazebo was burnt to the ground, and the county was aware. Yeah, that's definitely a rookie mistake tax. So hopefully you didn't get the rookie tax too hard on just the gazebo. Better a gazebo than the whole house. Yes, that's how you know it's live. That's basically before you would make a mistake when you're live and feel like a goofball. But now it's like, this just confirms that we're live. So that's the name of the game. So good stuff, everybody. We just wanted to hop on and show you guys some of the mistakes that people are making when it comes to these type of investments here. And for everybody that's interested in getting into tax liens and deeds, obviously we have a ton of videos. So if you like this stuff, hit the thumbs up. And then from there, you can subscribe if you're not subscribed. But every week we build 10 custom blueprints, and they're called a tax deed freedom blueprint. And basically what we can do, this is a free thing that we provide. If you want us, tell us where you're located and we build you a totally custom roadmap that will show you the best counties for where you want to go. It's personalized to yourself, your home county, the best counties that are a fit. And then from there, we'll give you a 7-step personalized checklist with all of the counties that fit your requirements, and then the exact action checklists that are personalized to you. So there's no two that are alike. We do about 10 to 15 of these per week. So you can schedule a call down below and grab one of these. If you're ready to take action in real estate in the next 90 days and you have, say, 10 to 40 grand set aside, then you can grab one of these. It's free, and it'll help you take action in this. So that's below in the description. So we appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you here on the next one.